Hello and welcome to Ask Amanda Now. This is our short Friday afternoon session where I can answer one Strata question for you. It is wonderful to be here with you this Friday. It's probably the afternoon where you are, but where I am, it is the morning. I have just got up an hour or so ago. I have a giant cup of coffee here. The reason it is the morning where I am is because I'm in Spain. Lucky enough to be traveling in Spain with my family for the next week or so, and then we move on elsewhere to other adventures that I'm looking forward to taking you on with me. How has your week in Strata been? If you're coming in live and I can see some eyes there, feel free to pop me a hello. We were doing some sound tests and internet tests earlier with the team, and we're hopeful that I'm coming through loud and clear. It's always a bit of a challenge when you're traveling to make sure that the Wi-Fi is going to hold up for you. So any issues at all, do let us know. But I am here to answer a question that has been sent through earlier today by one of our followers here on the page. I generally put the call out about 24 hours before we're going to go live. Do you have a Strata question for me? I put that out on email as well. Get lots of responses through email, and the team and I go through that list of questions and choose one that I can answer. We're looking for questions that will help many people, a more general question, not too specific to your unique situation. We always get lots of great questions, but only time to answer one. Emiliana is here saying, well, is that welcome to Spain? I don't speak Spanish. So Google Translate has been my friend. Definitely, we've been here for about 5 days. Our 10-year-old son is much better than we are at picking up the language. So we generally have a Spanish lesson at the end of each meal. He jumps on Google Translate and teaches us some words. Patrina's here saying, hello, you are here. Hubby will be in Barcelona next week. So good to know you have Wi-Fi. Yeah, well, so far, so good. And we were just passing through Barcelona a few days ago, and we'll be back there towards the end of the month as we head home. So another great town. Awesome. So lovely to have you all here. Let us jump in to today's question. Mina is helping me out here, and it's going to pop it up on the screen. Today's question that I have chosen to answer is from Letty. Now, as usual, this is a summary of the longer form question. You'll see this one actually on the page, so you'll get a bit more background there if you scroll down and see Letty's full background comment. But in short, I think Letty is asking what happens when the compulsory appointment of a Strata manager comes to an end. Now, the little bit more information that Letty has shared publicly is she said, we got a compulsory manager appointed for 2 years. So that's an appointment by order of the tribunal. Letty says someone messed up and the expiry date of that appointment slipped through the cracks. It ended a few days ago and we thought we had until November. There's been a meeting called for next week. And interestingly, to me, the agenda for the meeting apparently includes a motion to end the compulsory appointment. That's curious, and I'll explain why, and a motion to appoint a new Strata manager. So Letty's saying, how does this all work in essence? And that's what we're going to have a look at today. I've specifically chosen this one because it also came up during our chat last Friday. I had a question here during Friday Live about compulsory appointments and how they come to an end. And I hinted that there was a bit of a loophole, I thought, in our legislation around this situation. And I have worked with some Strata managers in the past who have had difficulties understanding exactly the process that needs to be implemented to properly bring a compulsory appointment to an end, because our legislation is a little bit unclear about that. So I'm going to take you over to have a look at that. So thrilled that many of you are coming in live and saying hello. I'm getting more Spanish from Bill and Ben. You guys are much cleverer than me. I need translations, please. Hello, Bill and Ben. Michelle is saying, greetings from wintry Australia. Yeah, it's a big change here. About 30 degrees most days. We've been at the beach. Carolina is saying, welcome to Europe. Hey, Carolina, be good to meet you soon as well. Excellent. Daryl saying, hola, I got that one. That one I got. My French, my schoolgirl French is not too bad. So if ever we're in France, I tend to be the translator. But no, Spanish I've never quite jumped into, but I would love to, and I'm doing my best. So teach me, guys, teach me. All right, so let's get Letty's question back up here on the screen, Mina, if you don't mind. Excellent. So this is the question we're answering today. Leonie's saying, shouldn't the AGM be performed 14 days, end of order? 14 days before the end of the order, Leonie, is that what you're saying? Maybe. Is that the part of our legislation that's unclear? Hey, how you going, Leonie? Angela's saying, thanks for still doing this while you're away. My pleasure. This is what I like to do, Angela. Okay, let me head over, and to answer this question, I'm going to share with you the relevant section of our Strata Schemes Management Act. It is, some of you will be aware, section 237. I'm talking about the New South Wales legislation. This is the section that says the tribunal can order the appointment of a strata managing agent to exercise all the functions of an owners corporation, or specified functions, or all functions other than certain specified functions. The order can confer the functions of the chairperson, the secretary, or the treasurer. And the tribunal makes this order in circumstances where the management of a strata scheme is not functioning or is not functioning satisfactorily. You can see those words there in the section. So often we say the appointment of a compulsory manager is necessary in communities that are dysfunctional. Not the words that are used in the section, and the cases are quite clear about that. It's not simple dysfunction, it's something a little bit more complicated than that, but that's where this idea of functioning or not functioning satisfactorily is coming from. Now, what I specifically want to look at today is what happens towards the end of a compulsory appointment, and that is here in section 237. It's in subsection 6 that I have on the screen now. A strata managing agent appointed as a consequence of an order under this section must cause a general meeting of the owners corporation to be held not later than 14 days before the end of the agent's appointment, and must, on or before that meeting, make arrangements to return to the owners corporation all documents and other records of the owners corporation held by the agent. Now, this is the section that I find really curious, and I have had cause to give some advice to a compulsory managing agent in the past who read this section and said, Amanda, if I have to hold this meeting 14 days before the end of my appointment, doesn't that mean that at the meeting, owners won't be able to vote because my appointment will still be active and I have all powers of the owners corporation, all powers of the committee. I can act as chair at this meeting, but no one can vote. So what power, what authority do they have to do anything at that meeting? Obviously, the intention is to make a decision at that meeting about what the future management of the owners corporation will look like. Will we appoint our own voluntary, I use that word, not in the legislation, but I use that word to differentiate from a compulsory appointment. Are the owners going to appoint their own strata manager moving forward for a period of time, or are they going to self-manage? What decision is going to be made at that meeting? But if this meeting is happening no later than 14 days before the end of the agent's appointment, then owners don't have the power to vote. And this is the part that I find is confusing. And I think, in my view, I'll head over to those comments and see what you think. I think we need some reform in this area to clarify how it is that owners can properly legally make decisions about their future management. In the situation where I was providing advice to a strata manager, that manager had actually been the meeting to take place, I think on the day of, or maybe even the day after the end of their compulsory appointment, so that technically owners then, the power had then reverted back to the owners. They were able to vote at the meeting. There was no chairperson because all powers of the chair had been vested in the compulsory manager, but the owners there present at the meeting consented to that strata manager who's no longer the compulsory manager because their appointment has expired, consented to that strata manager running the meeting as chair. And then at that meeting, there was a motion on for the appointment of a voluntary strata manager. And that is how the meeting proceeded, and the owners were able to elect, using their voting rights, the strata manager moving forward. But strictly, that's not in compliance with subsection 6, because that meeting should have been held 14 days before the end of the agent's appointment. That is section 237. Letty's specific situation, just press that button to stop sharing. Letty's specific situation was about a meeting to bring the compulsory appointment to an end. If we go back to those more detailed comments that Letty had in her public post that's here on the page, Letty had said the agenda items for her meeting that's happening next week include ending the compulsory appointment. Now, I said earlier, that's a bit curious because we don't have to pass a motion to end a compulsory appointment. The compulsory appointment automatically comes to an end when the tribunal says it comes to an end. So the tribunal order will have said in Letty. I should be coming back to you now. I think I've gone flat. Am I coming back? Sorry, guys, we were doing so well. At what point did I get to? Still no sound? Can you hear me now? I was back for a second and then I was gone. Am I back now? I'll just keep talking, practice my Spanish. Okay, I think I'm back. I'm seeing a lot of them back. I've just unplugged a few things. I think I went flat. But I'm good. All right, excellent. I got to, thank you, Gail. Well, I got to, the tribunal has the end date of the appointment. Yes. So we don't have a motion. We don't have to pass a resolution to end a compulsory appointment. The compulsory appointment comes to an end when the tribunal says it comes to an end. Excellent. You didn't miss too much. Had nothing else to say after that. All right, I am heading over to those comments. Thank you so much. There are so many of you here live. I'm so impressed, and thank you for supporting me with my tech issues. Excellent. Okay. Hey, Sean, I'm heading back to those hellos. Hola. Maureen is saying, thanks for this. Have a wonderful break. Thank you, Maureen. Okay, so Sean is saying, call the meeting and adjourn it for 14 days. Ooh, I hadn't heard of that before, Sean. So call the meeting while you still have the power as the compulsory manager to call the meeting, adjourn it for 14 days, and then when you're holding the meeting, owners have their voting rights. Who chairs the meeting, Sean? Do the owners then agree that the strata manager, former compulsory strata manager, chairs the meeting? And what happens for that 14 days in between the adjournment and the actual meeting? I suppose you'd call the meeting and then have the meeting immediately the day after your compulsory appointment ends. Is that it? Hey, Kareem. My pleasure to be here. Thank you. Okay, then my sound disappeared. There's lots of comments about my sound. Maureen saying, I'm aware of compulsory management only being made for a couple of months. During this time, the strata manager got the problem owners on side to ensure reappointment. And so the problems continued. Yeah, so Maureen, the compulsory manager was then reappointed as a voluntary manager. That can happen sometimes in communities where everything's going smoothly and everyone's happy with their compulsory manager. But it sounds like that was a difficult process for your community. Okay, excellent. Hello from Oxfordshire. Hey, Richard. Sean saying they elect a chair. Great. Sean just made it up. I'm the lawyer. Got it. I like hearing what you guys are doing on the ground, because obviously there's compulsory management. Compulsory management's ending all the time, and there must be a process that you guys follow. But if you have a look at section 237 subsection 6, you should be holding that meeting. You should be actually having that meeting 14 days before, which just doesn't make sense if owners can't vote. Joys of our strata legislation. All right. Now, Rod is saying, will you be answering any other questions today? Only one question today, Rod. Usually with an Ask Amanda Now, I run for about 10 to 15 minutes. I think we're at our max at the moment. And it's a one strata question. If you have a question, and many of you did, you posted it on the page, you put it in my inbox. Sounds like Rod might have a question. If you have a question that I haven't answered, that I haven't been able to answer today, then the place to ask that question is inside the Your Strata Property online membership community. So many of you, I can tell by these names, many of you are members inside our community. If you have a question, head over to that member forum. You'll know where it is. It's not here on Facebook. You'll know where it is. Post your questions there. I have been in there most evenings. I'm sitting down and answering those forum questions even while I'm away. If you're not yet a member and you want to jump into that forum, ask me your question, get my answer in writing, then you want to head over to stratamembership.com. That's the place where you can find out more and you can join us on the inside right away. Letty is here. Hey, Letty, it looks like you might have just joined us. So do catch this replay. I'm about to wrap up, but do catch this replay where I have addressed your situation. I know there's a few complexities going on in your community at the moment. So feel free to let me know your thoughts on what I've shared earlier today. Carolina saying, when are you back in Australia and back at work for a one-on-one appointment? Lots of asking that. Poor Michelle in the office is fielding calls and emails. I'm back in the first week of October, and that month is already filling up. So if you are somebody who's looking for one-to-one solicitor client advice, then do reach out to Michelle in the office. She's going to hate me for saying this. That's all I'll say. Reach out to Michelle in the office. You'll know where to find her. I'm not going to drop her email address, but those dates for October are filling up. So do reach out if you are looking for that kind of specific support. Excellent. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Letty. Thank you, Carolina. I will catch all of you probably around this time next week. Next Friday afternoon, I will be on the move a little bit, but I think we'll still be here around this time next week for another Ask Amanda Now session. I look forward to seeing you all then. Bye for now.